Hey guys, what's up? Today we have a pretty big unboxing from the Cubicle.us. I'm super excited to try out all these new cubes, so let's just get right into it. First up, we have the YuXin Kylin V2 M, which comes in a fairly small, compact plastic box. I used to use the original YuXin 3x3 back in the day, and right away I can tell that this cube is a bit different because it, interestingly enough, uses colored tiles in place of stickers. I haven't seen a cube do that before, but I'm definitely not against the idea. Doing first turns, this cube feels extremely stable, but doesn't have very good corner cutting and isn't feeling quite as fluid as I would like. However, the tensions are super tight, so that could have something to do with it. The feeling itself is pretty dry and sandy, and actually does remind me a little bit of the original YuXin 3x3. I'm going to have to do a little bit of setting up on this cube, simply because the tensions aren't great and I think I'm going to want to lube it a bit, but I am thinking that this cube has a bit of potential, and it's also probably a pretty good option for people who are looking for a nice budget speed cube, because it's only about $10. And the only other thing that I would say on this cube is that even though I'm not against the concept of the tiles and I like the way they feel, I'm not a huge fan of the colors they use, and I think they're a little bit dull, sort of like Diane colors. Moving on, the next cube that we have in the box is the Valk 2M, and this has some really nice packaging, which is going to be sort of a pattern for the rest of the unboxing. Once you take off the outer packaging, you can find the cube inside a protective case, along with a small white box containing a Qi microfiber cloth and several Valk 2 cards and Matt's Valk cards. Opening up the protective case, there is a small bag of extra springs along with the cube. My first turns on this cube weren't quite as good as I was expecting because I have heard some great things about this cube, but I can see the potential that it has. It sort of reminds me of the Weipo, but I actually like this out of the box a bit more than I like the Weipo, simply because the plastic is a little bit softer and it seems to be more flexible. One interesting fact about the Valk 2M is that instead of using the standard corners-only magnet system that most magnetic 2x2s use, the Valk 2M actually does its magnets more like a 3x3 and implements magnets inside the inner edges of the 2x2. Because of this, it's a bit more consistent throughout the turn because it has a smaller magnetic radius according to the description on the Cubicle's website. I can definitely notice this even just doing my first turns because it does feel pretty smooth throughout the turn. I can definitely see myself using this as my main once I set it up because it has just the right amount of speed and controllability, and the soft feeling is pretty nice. It is a little bit dry now and the tensions feel like they could be improved, but of course that will all be fixed with some setting up. Next up we have the Hays7 M, a cube that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a really long time. I do like my Wuji M, but I really like solving 7x7, and the Wuji does have a few problems with popping and just general lockups and catches, so I'm excited to see if the Hays7 can fix some of those problems. Doing first turns, this cube seems to be on pretty tight tensions and doesn't feel lubed at all. It's a bit catchy and not quite as good as I thought it would be, but generally, when you're working with big cubes, it takes a while for them to reach their full potential. I'm going to need to do quite a bit of work on this cube, but I am really excited to try this out more, do a ton of solves on it, and then see what my final opinion is. I'm also hoping to get the Qi Spark 7x7 to see how these two stack up to each other. Finally, we have what most of you are probably here to see, the GAN356 X. Once again, this cube has some amazing packaging. Opening up the package, inside you can see the cube and a ton of customizing options. These include a total of 4 spring compression options and 3 magnet strength options, as well as the option to have no magnets, although I'm not quite sure why you would want to do that, especially with this cube. It also comes with a huge pamphlet on how to solve the cube and a separate guide to the different parts that come alongside the cube for the customization. Doing first turns, this cube is exactly as good as I thought it would be. Apart from the insane customizability, it has a much more fluid, fast, and snappy feel than previous GAN cubes. I can't seem to stop turning this cube, and I'm able to achieve ridiculous TPS on this cube as well. One of the reasons I'm especially excited about this cube is because I really want to try out the different customizing options because they're so easy to switch out. It only takes about a minute to switch out the magnets and probably about the same amount of time to switch out the springs. Doing my first solves on this cube, I've been super inconsistent on it because it is somewhat floppy and uncontrollable at the current state. However, I absolutely intend on trying out every customizing option possible to see exactly how good I can make this cube. One thing I should note about this cube is that this isn't the standard GAN356 X. This is the GAN356 X IPG version 5. What that means is that it doesn't have the predetermined tension settings that the normal GAN356 X comes with, and you have to tension it just like you would tension any normal cube. However, you can achieve the same results if you tension this perfectly. Hopefully, when the manufacturer makes more of the regular version, I will be able to get one of those and see if the predetermined tension settings are helpful enough in making the cube consistent overall. So that's it for this unboxing of these 4 fairly new cubes. I hope you all enjoyed, and definitely be on the lookout for some reviews of these cubes in the upcoming weeks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!